Just like don't leave your prep for the last couple weeks of the season. I've got another good point I'd like to mention on that. A lot of, actually, when I think about it, the crossbows, I never touched on that. Like crossbows too. Again,
I got a lot to say about that too.
Well, I won't get too into it. Other than like, I don't like that. Like it breaks down that barrier where if you can shoot a gun, you can pick this up and shoot it, but without learning the implications or limitations of an arrow. So people get in their mind that okay, I'm going to shoot at this. Like some crossbows are promoted as 100-yard crossbows because they've got a scope that has a 100-yard reticle in it. That is fine for shooting at the range and like having just a bit of fun. It is in no way, shape, or form practical to shoot at an animal at extremely long ranges like 100 yards with a bow or crossbow. There's just so many factors of wind. The animal can take a step. It's not instant delivery, and there's also a lot of safety and stuff that you need to be aware of when it comes to a crossbow. You want to worry about the limitations of like penetration and stuff and what it can do to the animal, but also how it's held. So this is the flight deck. This represents the flight deck of a crossbow. They're usually built with a guard to prevent you from putting your hand up around. But some older crossbows, and even today, there are some crossbows out there that don't have that protective guarding. I'll actually take one down and just show you real quick. So this here, it represents the guard that protects your hand from the flight deck. So this is meant to keep your hand out of the path of the string. When the string is at fully cocked position, obviously it's back here, your hand's here. If you were to grab the bow like this, you could very easily sever your thumb, and I've actually had a client do that where he handed his crossbow over to his brother. I think it was his brother-in-law, something like that. He actually handed him the crossbow, and even though it had this flight deck, he somehow managed to put his thumb up in the path of the string. So safety-wise, there's definitely some things that need to be learned. So same with the crossbow. Even though it's a lot easier to pick it up and shoot it, there are some safety concerns and there are limitations on the delivery system of an arrow versus a bullet. So please don't that's one thing I don't like about the crossbows. I think if there's anything, I think bows and crossbows, there should be an educational course required before anybody's allowed to go hunt big game with them, because it's just there's so much you need to know and need to learn.
Yeah, they do. I mean, you have to do a hunter safety course with the rifle before you're allowed to hunt with it, and that covers all your safety stuff. I mean, it's absolutely, there's no reason they couldn't do that for archery. I think doesn't the government, I know in the back of your hunter's card they do have a bow hunter certification. It's not mandatory, and I don't even know what the course involves.
There is no, right now there is no course. I think that was just, it was done back in the day when there was like a plan to put one in place, and it never actually got implemented. Most provinces do require it, and I think it will come. I think there are groups that are lobbying for that, but at this point it hasn't happened. And I'm adamant that it should happen too, because people should have to learn the limitations of a bow or crossbow, not only for the safety of the animal, for a clean harvest, but also for the safety of the user.
Before he puts crossbow down, I do want to mention something else. It may be obvious to you, it may be not, but hopefully there's some new hunters who are getting into archery, which is what the purpose of this video is, actually, not to discourage people, but to actually get them into it the right way. But I want to mention that crossbows are considered a rifle under hunting rules and regulations in most areas. Here in Newfoundland, they're 100%, they fall under all the rules and classifications of a rifle, not a bow and arrow. A crossbow is not allowed to be used during our 2-week archery season. I've seen people in the woods during archery season with a crossbow, and it was just total ignorance. They thought they bought a bow and arrow. I know other places on the mainland, it's generally the same, with the exception of maybe Ontario has a crossbow only season, but what I'm getting at is in your jurisdiction, make sure that you know the rules. So here in Newfoundland, just to make this clear to anybody who's thinking about getting into archery or crossbow hunting, because this is a whole other area that I actually don't know much about, but I can tell you that a crossbow is not considered archery equipment in Newfoundland, so do not use it during the archery season. You might as well take out your rifle during archery season, because you're going to get the same finds.
Yeah, and that is a thing that I run into every year. Like, if people call me for a crossbow, like, first thing out of my mouth is, now you do realize you don't get in the woods 2 weeks early with it. And they're like, oh, really? And that was the whole reason I wanted it.
See,
and that's the thing that...
and you ruined the sale, but you kept them from getting arrested.
Oh, yeah,
it's funny because I was actually into a shop, and within the past 2 years, and someone bought a crossbow over the counter while I was there, talking about hunting during archery season, and the salesperson actually didn't mention it to him. And when they were leaving, I was pretty surprised, actually. But anyway, they said, well, we're just, he wanted a crossbow, so we sold it to him. So I actually ran in the parking lot and informed them, and they were like going back to get a refund.
Yeah.
Like it was, now that's an extreme case. I think now with crossbows becoming a little more common here in Newfoundland, you won't have that issue with the shops. I think they'll probably tell you. But if you're just going in, you say you're buying one for target shooting, and then you want to take it hunting, don't.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess in a quick recap, just like don't leave your prep for the last couple weeks of the season, even if you've got a bow and you've been shooting for a while. It's always good to get it out and make sure your tuning is done. Just like don't leave your prep for the last couple weeks of the season. Just like don't leave your prep for the last couple weeks of the season.